Welcome, everyone, to Market Conversations. I'm your host, Jerry Hall. I absolutely appreciate all of you folks that had gotten into the chat before the show opened. It was nice being able to sit here in studio, see you come in and say hello. Hello. Got a great show for you tonight. I'd like to introduce you to producer extraordinaire, Mr. Brady. Why don't you come on in here and say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Brady.
Or acting producer, learning producer.
No, you're the producer of the show, man. You are a foundational element of what's going on here. Brady's going to be handling all of the chat, putting your questions on screen. I've got some great guests lined up for you tonight. I'd like to first let you know about Mr. Nick Black. He's a gentleman that I met several months ago. A very, very bright guy out of Sherman Oaks, California. Multi-talented in many different disciplines. Writer, as far as it pertains to screenplays and things of that nature. Gold refiner, macroeconomist, crypto enthusiast. This guy consults hedge funds around crypto investments. And he does a daily live stream at Crypto and Coffee. We're going to have him on the show. Let's pull him in. Mr. Nick, pulled in. You've been pulled in. How are you tonight, man?
I feel good. I feel ready. A long-time listener, first-time caller.
Right on. Also want to draw your attention to a community favorite. This is Mr. BZ Comedy Channel. You've seen him on Twitter. You'll see him on YouTube. You find him in a lot of my comment sections of my videos. This is an incredible guy. Let me introduce you to BZ Comedy Channel. BZ!
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you, man? Good to have you on the show.
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, right on. So the whole purpose of this show was to create an environment for you, the audience, as well as the guests, to interact. Sure, we could lay out some topics and just go for it, but we really want engagement from you, the crypto enthusiasts who's found this channel and might have some questions. In the absence of questions, we may tell jokes or stories or tell you what we see is going on in the market, hence the name of the show, Market Conversations. So let's start with you. Let's start with you, Nick. What do you see going on in the markets today?
What is our level of profanity use in this show?
Excellent question.
Well, you know, I try to keep it to a minimum, and I say frick instead of that other word, and I'll say shat instead of that other word, and things of that nature. But you know what? We're all adults here. I don't think there's any children.
Jerry, that's just the past tense of the other word.
Well, some are.
It's no different than saying fucked.
Okay, well, there you have it.
You had to get the first one out of the way.
We went there. We freaking
all right.
Went there.
The door's
open. A lot
open.
of children watch crypto videos.
I think there's a lot of children in the retail investment space right now. I think they're getting bullied. I think they're getting talked into doing stupid things. I think they're behaving impetuously. And I think it's this whole kind of, I hate to say the Robin Hood movement, but it kind of is. And I don't just mean people that set up Robinhood accounts that never funded them. And then all of a sudden they sat at home for 3 months and they got antsy and they didn't have to pay rent for a few months. And they thought, what the hell? I'll throw it all on black. But these guys have also, and I mean, retail investors, period, whether it's TD Ameritrade, Schwab, Fidelity, whatever, it's new entrants into the market that are not really good at discerning shit from truth. And so what happens is, like, as an example, a bunch of more senior investors will bid up stupid stocks in the equities market in the pre-hours trading. And then these retail investors that don't know any better will go, yes, sweet, Hertz is on a tear. Never mind it's bankrupt. Never mind the stock's going to zero. And they jump in and then they get their faces melted 6 hours later. And then some other internet guru on YouTube tells them that they just got it wrong. But if they do it right, if they do it their way, they're going to make $10,000 a day. It's just, we just lived in this really weird kind of fake market, and all the real smart money, I hate to say it like that, but all the smart money is on the sidelines kind of watching all this go down. And that's without getting into the, yeah.
No, I totally agree. BZ, you got a take on this.
I am in this space purely by accident. My cousin, he texted the wrong person one day when I was at work, and he just said, it's happening. He said, it's happening. So I asked him, what's happening? And he delved into the crypto sphere a little bit, and that kind of got the ball rolling. But I'm not even sure if I would be here listening to you guys on your shows and everything if that accident didn't happen. But I'll tell you one thing, it's kind of like I liken it to like fantasy football. The more I pay attention to one team, the more it branches off to another team, and I'm paying attention to another player and another player, and it's really kind of snowballed for me. But there's a lot going on. It's kind of tripping me out, actually.
It really is. I'll tell you, my involvement in this digital asset space opened up a door not just to investments in digital assets, but a line of thinking around money, right? It was through that investment that I started learning about the history of money, monetary policy, currency creation, currency debasement, you know, this whole like realm of financial literacy. And it was through this journey that I found folks like Raoul Powell and Jeff Snyder and George Gammon, who are talking about fundamental elements of our global economy. And it's interesting when you hear these bright minds speak and talk, the disconnection between what they're saying they see versus what we're seeing when we look at the S&P. There's this real disconnect, you know, like Nick said, the smart money is going, hey, this is so overvalued and has been for a while. To put money in this market right now, unless it's one specific company that is actually got good value and is distressed, for the most part, it's 30, 40, 50% overpriced. And nobody's getting paid for that price risk. You know what I mean? Nobody's pricing in the risk correctly. It's crazy.
I mean, to be fair, there are obviously values, right? Like, there's companies that are going to just disintegrate at the end of, you know, COVID, but they're all balance sheet impaired. And I think that if you were trying to catch the bottom, that's pretty stupid because no one knows where that could be. So it seems to be the smarter path would be wait for things to kind of bottom out, wait for all of this balance sheet impairment to get factored in to where you actually see quarterlies, the bad quarters that they don't really talk about right now and address. When we see all these restaurants that we know are going to go bust, when we see all these REITs that are going to blow up and all the things that are going to blow up over the next, say, 3 months, it'd be nice to see them all blow up, all the bodies float to the surface, use the pickaxes, get them out of the water. And then, you know, there'll be some takeovers, there'll be some little mergers of assets and things like that. And I think at that point, I would rather lose a little bit of the potential than just keep getting my ass kicked all the way down because, and you know, we are at just the start of really irrational behavior, right? We're coming to the end of the rent forbearance for people that were not paying rent for the last few months. So there's going to be a lot of people that now the landlords are in this contentious relationship where they're trying to boot their asses on out. And they're like, F you and F you, sucker. And I'm going to lock my door with duct tape and all this kind of shit. And then when they do finally get evicted, they're going to, you know, claw their way out the whole way. They're going to rip out it's going to be a mess just on a local level. Then you have all these homeowners that have forbearance programs through their banks. Well, the banks at some point are going to go, enough is enough. I mean, unless they just keep adding on and piling on more bailouts, which they also might do. But again, all of these factors are so crazy and all over the place that I don't know if anybody has, I mean, all the way to the top has the cognitive capacity to kind of work out all the fucking pieces. So
No,
I just
I hear
kind of
you.
chill.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So, Nick, I think you and I are seeing the same thing, but I'm kind of coming at it from a different perspective, right? The perspective that I've kind of seen that is really alarming to me isn't so much the guy that got a $1,200. Sorry about that. It's not the guy that got a $1,200 stimulus check and decided to buy some Hertz stock. It's that with this astoundingly high unemployment number and this lockdown or reduction in productivity in our economy, all those people that were employed that were putting money into the market through their 401ks, that stuff is stopped, right? So there's that element. Then there's the other element of, well, with these shelter in place economies that we've had, not just in the United States, but all over the world, municipalities are not collecting anywhere near the tax revenues that they used to. And what are the knock-on effects of that? Well, pension funds aren't getting funded like they used to, and they weren't getting funded very well 6 months ago. You know what I mean? This is like, it's even worse. So what are the knock-on effects of these things?
Well, I look at it like this, it's a coffin, right? So we're on a field, and then they shut down the economy everywhere, really. I mean, if we're being honest, I don't care if China starts up sooner, they don't have anything to sell anyone, or they don't have anyone to sell to. So it's like, okay, great. The people are coughing their lungs up and dying, and they're making farm tools and all this kind of shit, but there's no one to sell to. So like 3 months ago, the whole thing flattened out, and now we're slowly digging this ditch of nothingness, right? And there's nobody's working, nobody's paying in, nobody's paying taxes. The only thing that's going in to fill that hole up is stimulus. Well, that's printed right out of prosperity, right? Like indirectly, like you always say, Jerry, that's taking forward prosperity, tax dollars, and it's basically sucking the future out and using it to pay now. Yeah. But that hole just gets deeper and deeper, and it's like you can't print your path to prosperity. So at a point, something has to give. And hopefully you don't have many somethings, right? Like what you wouldn't want to see is a welfare system collapse and some kind of decay of social services and a decay of the hospital system. And it's like, dang, ding, 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 ding. And if you saw something like that, then you're like, the Walking Dead type shit, right? Where you really have to change the way you think about surviving. It's not like, I don't know if I'm going to get Porsche Boxster this month. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to get stabbed in the neck this month coming out of Ralph's.
Yeah.
So it's like our priorities are going to get a case of Act Right. And I don't know if you can just print that. How do you fill that? How do you fill that coffin? Because it starts to look like a coffin at a certain point. And so then you can say, well, we could debt mutualization is the story now. Create bad banks and they can hold all the toxic debt. And I don't know how deep you want to dive into this shit, but
let's not dive too deep into it. I think no, I think the important thing to really bring to the surface is, folks, just because you see the markets in CNBC and Fox News and all these other entities reporting about the market is doing good, it doesn't matter what the president tweets. I don't care how much money they print. Prepare yourself, folks. All the smart people that I listen to are saying, hey, we're looking at entering a pretty deep insolvency phase. And what that means is bankruptcies and ripple effects through the economy that are not good. They're devastating. Devastating. So prepare yourselves. And with that being said, it's not all doom and gloom, because there is value out there. And one of the points that we want to make on this show is let's discover those things together. And Nick and I, all week long, have been talking about one of these real bright spots in the crypto space, and that is the soon-to-be online proof of stake protocol called Shelley from Cardano, which, if you have any knowledge of the investing world, it brings value investing to crypto. It brings passive income generation to crypto. Now that is something I can get excited about, because even in a bear market, if I'm getting paid a dividend or interest on money that I'm holding, even if the asset value is down, I'm still generating assets. This is a bright spot in the crypto space. Nick, BZ, Brady, chat, stream, let's get into the positive news of what proof of stake protocols can mean to folks in times where valuations aren't where we'd like them to be.
Who doesn't like passive income? I mean, there's new ways to make money. I mean, they're starting to flush themselves out right now with YouTube channels are taking off, especially in the crypto space. And I basically just stuck to a few cryptos here and there on the like Tezos. You can do your proof of stake on that. So,
are you staking Tezos right now, BZ?
I'm trying to accumulate, as best as I can. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it lets me know. It notifies me. So yeah.
Okay, that's excellent.
I think right when you buy it lets you know.
Okay.
You're staked in it. Unless I'm wrong.
You know what? I would look into that. I don't think ownership of the token automatically means you're staking. Generally,
are you on Coinbase?
That one's on Coinbase. Yeah.
You're getting paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good.
So I'll just keep accumulating in the meantime.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'll take that. I'd love to see that with a lot more tokens. Tell you what. Because as I learn more, the basket's getting bigger. I'm branching out to other stuff I think might be. It's all a gamble, but I mean, you go with what you think you can make money off of.
It is a gamble. I think people miss that all investing it's just intelligent gambling, right? If anybody knew, they'd have all the money,
right?
And since no one has all the money, you can just judge by who's better. It's the ultimate dick measuring contest because you can start with nothing. And if you're smarter than the people around you, if you're willing to grind it out and you have a longer vision than like, I got to get rich this month. Right. But if you're saying, if you're patient and you're willing to go 5 years out or 10 years out, I mean, you can own every single house around you. If real estate's your thing, you dig in, you roll up your sleeves, you learn the game, you start finding, places that make sense based on what you're willing to spend, what you can, and you just start going bigger and bigger and bigger, until some catastrophic event comes or something that sets you back to zero. But even if you get reset back to zero, like in crypto, a lot of people, 2017, they kicked ass, then they got reset back to zero basically over the course of 2018, half 2019. But it doesn't matter because if you stuck with it the whole time, you learn so many lessons about where value is. And it's like you've been through 17 Vietnams worth of trading compared to what a Wall Street investor would get. Right?
I never knew patience until I got into crypto. I never knew it. And I also never knew acronyms. I've never seen so many acronyms in my life.
There's acronyms for acronyms.
Yeah.
But it's a weird space.
It's tripping me out. It's tripping me out how many people are starting to fall out of like XRP towards the end. Like they can't wait anymore. It's like you waited this whole time and now you're just you can't take it anymore. You're just gonna let all that go. It's like, dude, that money was gone for me the second I invested.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People don't really invest what they can afford to lose. And I even hate that statement because I say you should invest what anything beyond rent for 6 months. So my number in my head is you got to be able to pay your rent for 6 months just in case some crap like this happens and you're stuck at home or, you don't know, you might break your leg. There's a million things that could happen that don't look like a zombie apocalypse. But, but what I've learned is, so like when I'm talking to clients and stuff and they're like, well, what is it reasonable for me to put in this? I say, well, it's a speculation. So I would say 10 to 20% tops of your investable assets, but probably 10%. So if you have 100K to invest, 10K, right? And you better still have 6 months of all bills paid before we ever take, we even dip our toe in the crypto space. Now with that 10K, let's build your portfolio. Let's figure out what your risk tolerance is. Oh yeah. Thanks, Bill. Yeah. The shirt was $225,000, but the car was free. It was actually $380. That doesn't matter. That's the point is, by the way, my buddy and I the only thing we ever spent Bitcoin on was we each bought a luxury car in 2018 and we started renting them in LA. Now we built up a stable of exotics that we rent.
Cool.
Which is why I'm taking these scooters all the time because they're always rented out. Interesting thing, unrelated. Rich people are still rich. This just in.
The hell you say?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
It's the funniest thing. Our mid-range cars, like our Boxsters and our kind of the most, well, anyway, our high-end stuff continued to rent weekend after weekend after weekend. The middle end stuff, just nothing. And so it was like the people that wanted the Ferraris and the Lambos and, just go up the list, and the McLarens, they were like, yes, I'll take it. We're like, you're all right. You're like, yeah, I got some wipes. I got a wipe. I'll use a wipe. I'm like, okay, go have fun. And we have these chips put in them so that we can track how fast they're going. And they used to, people were going so slow and everything during the normal time of the year. And then when this thing, COVID hit, people are out there doing 140, 150. I'm like, man, you're going to go to prison for 40 years. They're going to lock your family up. They're going to but have fun. But yeah,
you can finally drive that fast. When everyone was inside, my God, the 405 freeway here. I've never gone 70 on that freeway in my entire life.
How nice is it?
Happened.
How nice is it now?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I want to get to this question. This is a great statement from Santiago Velez. Invest with the idea that what you have will be what you need to keep, not what you need to liquidate. Buy into ecosystems that will make the life you want in the future instead of thinking in fiat. Wow, that's very eloquently stated. And I just want to shout out Santiago. I have an interview that I recorded with him a little while ago that I'll be putting on the channel here for you. And just as a shout out to let you guys know, the whole kind of crypto space, the world is watching us. They're watching us on YouTube and they're watching us on Twitter. And I know this because I'm watching a Raul Powell into the week kind of week in review thing that he does for his Real Vision folks. And he talks about meeting Santiago Velez on Twitter and then immediately recognizing that he's brilliant, gets him on Real Vision and does an interview with him.
That's awesome.
The world of capital markets are scrambling because the old paradigm has morphed into something that very few people really understand. And it's kind of scary when you don't really know all the rules of the game you're playing in. And we're talking about the rich people that Nick mentioned earlier. Hey, this just in, the rich are still rich. Well, guess what? The game they played for so long is morphing and changing. And a lot of them aren't really sure how to operate in this new environment.
Well, it's tougher to cheat now. You really have to be smarter to cheat. The old cheating is not as profitable as the new cheating. The old cheating, you just built up a nice relationship, with someone close to the Fed or someone close to a prime broker. And as long as you were sucking on that free money pre-inflation, you win. And you just start getting levered and levered and levered and levered and levered and levered and take as much risk as you can because you're going to get bailed out. And that's all the moral hazard that they gave us years ago. And for a year, I mean, you could say 12 years for sure, but maybe before that, there's a fairly good slice of Americana that was legally cheating with this Fed-baked moral hazard, and they knew there's nothing that could happen. If you knew, Jerry, that you could do whatever you want at the market, you could charge whatever you want, you could print fake money and give that as change and do that, and you would never go to jail, you'd be the richest guy at the market. You'd own the market. And that's kind of where we've gotten. There's just moral hazard is rife. And, you get these guys like Jamie Dimon that kind of sit back and like, world, and because they can cheat and get away with it. And
I am interested to see how these diabolical cheats can corrupt their way around traceability. I mean, everything's going to be trackable. I'm interested to see what they pump into under the guise of something we need.
Well, I think the first thing they'll do right now, because there's no real regulation, and I don't think that's an accident, there's all sorts of things you can do by bullying these assets around and shorting them on one exchange and going long on the other and frightening, sketch investors and retail, because this is a retail investor space for the most part, rather, in a few whales at the top that have these massive token allocations. And if there's no rules against it, it's not illegal. Is it amoral? Maybe. I'd probably do it if I had millions of, Bitcoin, or even tens of thousands of Bitcoin. I'd do it. We'd all do it.
That's an honest answer. That's a very honest answer.
You do it till it's illegal. And then when it's illegal, you do it until someone else gets arrested. And when they bring a case against someone and someone does, the first guy that does time, that's when everybody stops.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true. We all saw what happened to Enron, and some people did go to jail.
Yeah,
however,
two.
Somebody went to jail, Nick. I mean, I'm not saying the whole, everybody that should have went to jail, but I am saying there were some sacrificial lambs trotted out in front of the media, and they went and did some time. Now, obviously, it was white collar type crime, and there some fancy Fed low security
tennis court prison,
tennis court, golf courses and stuff. But anyway, let us not regress.
Come on, Jeffrey, we're going over the hedge tonight.
There is a bright spot. There's a bright spot in crypto in that, like, for instance, for myself, my crypto investment hasn't been profitable but for 4 hours in the last 2 years. And I'm not at all depressed about it because I honestly know what I've invested in. The time horizon hasn't materialized in a way that I would like, but I'm okay with that. The introduction of DeFi, bringing lending and borrowing products to this space, I think is compelling. Proof of stake protocols that will actually reward stakeholders for validating and maintaining the security of their block creations and transactions, the validation of transactions, I think is brilliant. I've never been a big fan of proof of work, and I see proof of stake as being something that
he's really concentrating right now.
Incentives.
I'm concentrating.
Yeah, you just froze in this weird kind of smile. This kind of this haunting smile.
That was joy.
I must have saw an ADA sticker or something because I get all excited when I think about what Charles and company is building over there.
Yeah,
that's gonna
BZ, are you hip to Cardano?
I have started collecting Cardano. Yeah, not nearly
Okay,
as well
excellent.
the other ones, but I'm in there now. I'm in there.
Dude, Nick and I, Brady, and really the whole crew from Coffee and Crypto, that's Monday through Friday, folks, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Crypto and Coffee. Macroeconomics, more macroeconomics. Occasionally we'll bash the Fed, and we always talk about our favorite cryptos and the things that we're excited about in the digital asset space.
Right on.
Bump drum roll. So
great plug spot right there. That was the perfect.
Oh, you have to do it. You have to do it. Nick is a great guy. I really enjoyed our collaboration. Do we have any does the audience have any questions? I know we're on an 8-second lag, so I'll try to fill 8 seconds. Maybe I'll tell a joke.
This is 8 seconds, right?
That was a very crafty, witty joke there, Mr.
You're
Black.
welcome. You're welcome, everyone.
So BitTrue announced that they're upping the percentage of their daily gains for ADA holders to 7%.
Yeah,
Look
by
at
the way.
them.
Yeah, by the way, it used to be 7.3%. So before you get all giddy, they
Sell all your ADA.
They throttled it down to 5 point whatever. 5.3, I think. But I made a mint off that. I actually parked a whole bunch of Cardano over there for almost a year, and they were paying 7.4%. And then there was some freeze up, and they gave everyone an extra 1% of their total tokens. So
wow, good timing on your part.
And when I got all those, I was like, I'm out. I'm out.
Really interesting. You know, so here's another element that I think is really interesting in with this whole world of proof of stake that I'm really kind of excited and learning about, right? Is that forever I thought that I had to use BitTrue to generate some kind of passive income on my crypto. And what I'm finding is that, like, for instance, Ethereum 2.0, they say you're going to be able to stake from your own wallet, meaning you have custody of your friggin' coins. Same with Cardano. Now, is Tezos like that, Nick? Can you stake Tezos from your secure? Okay,
you could run a validator. Yeah.
Oh, but you have to run a validator.
As far as I know,
pledge your coins from Tezos to somebody else.
I don't know if there's a private Tezos wallet where you can stake, or if you can stake through your ledger. As far as I knew, you had to run a validator, but that could be. I haven't really looked into it in a few months.
Very interesting. See, the whole concept of me retaining the ownership of my investment and being able to pledge to a staking pool and earn those rewards, to me, that is security and a passive income stream. And as an investor, that is music to my ears, because, you know, always, regardless of how much you trust your exchange, there is a level of risk associated to not having your coins on your wallet in your possession.
Yeah.
Right? Or am I
Yeah,
not?
I'm not 100% comfortable with my, you know, I love having, you know, wallets to put it in and everything like that. But I look forward to the day where what you have is yours and somehow it's insured and hopefully it's cross-platform. That'd be super cool. And I guess just time needs to let this whole thing develop. And
I mean, we're really early, I think. To Bill's question, has anyone heard any news about possible U.S. regulations? Well, there was a whole hearing yesterday, and Bill, I would encourage you to listen to it. It was really good, actually, and it was a Zoom hearing by Congress, HR 6321 or 612, whatever. And but it was really interesting because they were talking about the Fed accounts and the Fed crypto wallets that would hold digital dollar tokens, which are hopefully part of the digital dollar project. They talked to Giancarlo, who was with the CFTC, and he's, you know, buddies. He's super buddies with Brad Garlinghouse and yada yada. And so anyway, that was really interesting. But I think everybody, especially if you're into XRP and really Lumens and really any token that aims to move money cross border and be even just fractionally maintained by any banking institutions or FIs, they're going to need clear U.S. regulation. All these other countries can do whatever they want, but until the U.S. is very clear about what's what, none of these banks are going to take that risk. Now, they probably still will leverage the asset in a variety of ways and software and stuff like that, but they're not going to hold. I mean, I don't think they're going to hold it, period, but they're definitely not going to hold when there's just this murky regulatory landscape. And I think that's fair. I mean, you can't take that kind of risk as a bank. You're barely you can barely make money as a bank right now at, 30 basis points anyway. Like, what are you supposed to do? And if we go negative, forget about it. All these banks are going to be in real trouble. That's a whole other thing.
Right. Well, so silver lining time, right? Obviously, this whole COVID experience, unfortunate for those people that have had family and loved ones directly affected. My heart goes out to you. It's absolutely insane. However, that motivated policymakers to start looking at options, and to know that Congress did have an open Zoom meeting specifically pertaining to how can the government facilitate a transition to a faster digital-based disbursement method of relief funds. And they're talking about the digital dollar project and having representatives. They're talking about digital wallet ownership by the population, this has got to be really encouraging for everybody in this space. I don't know when it'll happen, but I can tell you as a direct result of yesterday's congressional hearing that we're one step closer, right? And it's better than being 2 steps farther away.
Well, the guy who chaired the meeting actually came out today. He either tweeted or he said something on CNBC that his only concerns were privacy, but he was very encouraged by the technology. And I think that those are just some things they're going to have to work through, but they're not going to have a million years to work through this stuff. Remember, if they're talking about getting stimulus checks out, stimulus means right now. There's still 30 plus million Americans that for whatever reason, and usually it's because they don't have the credentials to get bank accounts and stuff like that, they didn't get access to the stimulus. And this is, you could argue, 30 million Americans that need it more than anyone.
Right, the ones who need it the most.
So this has been a big fail. And again, we all watched while all of the bigwigs got bailed out again, and the upper middle class got bailed out, and everybody else just got kicked in the teeth. And they said, well, you don't have to pay rent for 3 months, but you'll have to pay 4 months of rent on month 4. Yeah. So save up for that. Here's $1,200. Go F yourself.
Then they go buy crypto with it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're going to go bail out all these companies that really we've been bailing out because they're failed companies, but we're going to keep bailing them out because they're angels. They're American, it's Americana. We can't let them fail. So we're going to keep giving them money. They're going to keep bonusing themselves. They're going to keep buying their own stock back. It's just, the whole thing is a quagmire. And they never were really clear, by the way, that you're not allowed. It's frowned upon, but there's no law that says you can't buy your own stock back. I mean, they haven't really made that very clear. It's kind of nebulous. And so already there was $65 billion worth of buybacks planned for this quarter. Like in the middle of this chaos, the same companies, it's just like the same music keeps playing. So
feeding off the carcass.
It's a chocolate snake.
Better selling point for a digital stimulus too, though. The failure of the first one.
Well, they don't want to admit that, do they? Then they have to. There's no way they're going to get up there and say, we botched the first stimulus. But they kind of botched the first stimulus, and I would say it was wholly inadequate. I mean, does $1,200 really change anybody's life materially? I mean,
it would mine.
But the people that it would really help haven't gotten the check yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you say, well, who else got it? Well, that group in the middle where it's not really a game changer. So you're like, yeah, okay, cool. They got a check and they maybe bought a TV or something, or hopefully they did.
Or loaded their Robinhood account.
Yeah.
Yeah, or loaded up their Robinhood account. I mean, and so we're just in this weird place where we're all it's very murky. And they're going to have to bail out everything. Like bailout even shouldn't be a word. It should just be business. We should just replace the word bailout for business. The Fed's going to be doing business today. And that just means that everybody that's running a bad one of those is going to get free money. But it's not really free to us because they're sucking away our prosperity and they're sucking away your buying power and they're punishing us for saving. And it's just like one thing after the next. And you just keep getting punched over and over and over. And I know in boxing, at some point your coach yells, get your fucking hand up. Like, stop, dude. Yeah. And so it's like, that's what kind of pushed me to crypto from gold. I was like, this is kind of cool, but I couldn't really buy into it until I started to really understand how the Fed worked. Then I was like, dude, this is a scam. I'm out. And then I went back and forth between, does the Fed actually do anything? Not much. I mean, they do, but they don't. But you have a whole class of people that believe they do, which means they do, even though they don't, because they have a whole bunch of inner assets that don't really move very far. And then you have this weird murky banking system that really kind of runs everything. And it's 24 banks and 24 douchebags led by basically Jamie Dimon. And then you're like, oh, well, it actually gets really simple. These 24 banks actually run the entire planet Earth. And by the way, it's for profit. And by the way, they don't give a shit about anyone except themselves. They have no interest in spurring economic growth. The only thing they care about is their bottom line and making sure that their coffers are filled with free money that they got from 2008. And great, there's not going to be a banking crisis anymore. And now The interesting thing is if we see a bank fail, it's because everybody else wanted it to fail. How would you feel if you're just this struggling bank, in this little community and you fail? And the only way that's possible is because all the prime brokers pulled back their cash and they said, we're not doing business with you. And the Fed said, you're not big enough to save. So hashtag crypto, right? And it's like, and it just kept, I just kept getting beat over the head like, man, this thing sucks. And so I would rather take my chance with Bitcoin flattening out at some point and all these other assets flattening out rather than leave my money in a bank where I know it's going to flatten out or get devalued or just simply not be there one day. If some banks start doing, back in, bail-ins and stuff like that and just be like, yeah, 15% of your money's gone because of your patriotic duty. You're like, oh my God. And who do you fight? Right? Like, and I'm not getting out there in the street like, fucking,
Go to your local branch and start complaining.
That was in Bank of America last Friday. They ran out of cash.
No
True
shit.
story.
At 9 a.m.
Wow.
At 9 a.m. they ran out of cash. This is Bank of America.
They're letting people with EDD cards cash out $1,000 every time. Like they'll give you $1,000 cash. I've seen it several times.
I need to get one of these.
How do I get one of those?
Well, I'll let you know tomorrow because I'm about to get one tonight.
I didn't know they were going to be giving out cash, though. That was tripping me out.
BZ, what part of town are you in?
San Pedro County, LA County.
Oh, okay.
Basically, Long Beach area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right on the water.
Are they going to postpone the Grand Prix, I'm guessing, huh?
I would assume so, yeah. I hope not. It's fun. I can get a $10 corn dog that's 3 feet tall.
Oh, I'm there for that. If they do it, I'm there.
I haven't heard any word about that.
BZ, that is so unfair, dude.
Like 5 years ago, like even before Bitcoin took off and hit its all-time high, I had Ubered for a couple months in between jobs, and I'll never forget this as long as I live because it's weird how things come around. A guy I picked up he was clearly drunk. He was telling me all the illegal stuff he was buying with Bitcoin, and I had no idea what the hell he was talking about at the time. And he's telling me all this stuff that's getting delivered to his house. And I'm, what the hell is
what happened?
Bitcoin? And then fast forward to 2017, my brother walks in the house. He's like, have you heard of Bitcoin? It's like $22,000 a coin. And so he was all interested in it. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. I hope he held on to some and didn't spend all of it.
Well, here, Bill's got a question. I cannot speak for the other guys on the panel here because I believe what they want to share is their own, you know what I mean? And some people want to be more private than others, but I'll tell you, Bill, my primary investment is XRP because I believe in payments are the foundation for everything, right? Cardano, because I believe that proof of stake in the smart contracts and programmable money, I believe Cardano's best in class in that world. And I own some VET because the supply chain governance provenance authentication world is hungry for an efficient system to track from, for instance, if it's food, field to table, if it's a Rolex from manufacturer to my wrist, etc. So those are the three I hold. If you guys want to share what you hold, you don't need to go into amounts or anything like that, but it's kind of cool to kind of get an insight to what people believe is worth putting money into.
Go for it, Nick.
BZ, you up?
XRP, it's hard to argue with their progress. And I've just been kind of following partnerships. So these big companies hooking up with VET and I like Tezos, I like Chainlink. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of gambles to take, but mainly XRP, yeah.
I'll give you in my personal account, Cardano, XRP, Bitcoin, Ravencoin, Ethereum, Filecoin, Blockstack. Those aren't out yet, but Stacks is. Filecoin's not released yet. EOS, Basic Attention Token, IOTA, although I'm dumping it. Hedera, VeChain, Link, I just dumped Holochain. Omise Go, but I'm going to dump it because it's too much of a hedge against Ethereum. Dent, that's a fail. Capacity, fail. Pack token, fail. EOS DAC, I got that for being on EOS. PRL, Evo. College Coin, Monero, but I'm dumping it because it's privacy related. I don't want to have any privacy related stuff. IQ, which is Everpedia, but it's not performed well. Avitho, of course, because I have VeChain. Binance Coin, because I trade on Binance. Cost, when I used to trade on Cost, but that's junk. I'm going to dump it, actually. It's good that I'm looking at this. BTT, because I got it for free, but I wouldn't pay for it. Tron, but I'm dumping it. Bay, Kin, ADD, GUP, ATD, Meet One, got those all on EOS as free airdrops. ADT, B2X, BCD, BCH, a little bit, but I'm dumping it. BLT, that Bloom token, that was the one that I dumped. Remember, I told you I sent like 8 Ethereum into hyperspace.
Yeah,
that was Bloom. That was BLT. Yeah, that thing shit the bed real bad.
Quick question, Nick. Do you have to have
faster to say what you're not in?
Do you exactly? I was almost going to say it'd be fair. Do you have to have 2 block folios just to keep track of that monstrosity of a portfolio you got?
I thought he was going to be subtle. He would just.
Oh no! Well, he's only talking about the personal account.
Yeah, I would never do anything even remotely like this for my clients. My clients list is like 12, and it's front loaded in like 4.
Right.
So I would never do anything like this with them. But I also, none of my clients have the same portfolio because it's based on their risk tolerance. So, and also right now I have kind of I have like 4 or 5 personal clients that I'll work with, like once a month I'll talk to them and stuff. And I originally built their portfolios, but I got rid of BLT.
BLT coin, I love it.
But most of my clients, like if they're part of funds and stuff like that, they're very restricted on what they can do. And so a lot of times it's not even that we're directly getting crypto, we're indirectly getting it like some kind of quasi synthetic position, like so through GBTC or any of the grayscale. Yeah. Right. So like a lot of times they can't own because they can't legally custody because again, they're waiting for regulation. And that's another big thing when they finally lay these rules down, there's going to be a lot of funds, pensions, and things like that can enter the space. Right now, they have to enter it through, if you want Bitcoin, you have to get GBTC, but there's like a 20% premium on that. And so these guys they can't reconcile that. And I'm not a fan of that either, honestly.
Nick, do you have Casino Coin?
I do not.
Or Matic?
I love it. Great project. I don't own any right now, but I think it's a great project. I am a former professional poker player, and the whole idea about a fully regulated KYC AML wallet and the ability to transfer value at any let's say casino, I think that would be huge. I don't know what this is, Nick. Brady, go back.
Nimic.
Yeah, what is that, Nick? I'm not even familiar with what that is.
I've seen it float by. Javon, I'm sorry, I just haven't looked at it, man. There's so much to read.
Yeah, I'm not hip to that. So, Nick, what are let's say your top 5 for you personally?
So, me personally, I would say, go right
Bitcoin?
down the list. So, number 1 would be, if I'm being honest, someone has a pistol to my head right now.
Yeah,
it's Cardano, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, EOS, basic attention token.
That's 5. That's enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's very telling. You can learn a lot about a man by his crypto portfolio.
Only when he has a pistol. So when someone's got a pistol to your head.
I'm really
so Brady,
Brady,
you haven't chimed in. What is the producer extraordinaire got sitting in his cold wallet?
I'm wishing I remembered or I was paying attention to hear what Nick said. But I have Bitcoin, Litecoin, which is now up for the gavel, or debate. And then XRP.
Okay.
Jerry's done joking.
Hey, did you get a T-shirt with that Litecoin?
No, I didn't. But
Okay,
I was around early enough to think, you know what, that silver thing, that works for me. I'm sure more people will get it, and I've had them since then. So it's kind of like a growing up scenario type thing. And since meeting with Nick and going back and forth and thinking about things and looking to the future of new options, be they Cardano or Kelly or ADA, and any of those fine ladies. So now I'm kind of restructuring, but it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP. DA's probably going to get thrown out the back door along with Litecoin eventually. And then the 2 lottery tickets, I guess you call them, which I like Nick's approach of percentages, and that he has, he exposure to it, but not any more risk than anything else in that category. So I like how he kind of just lays it out evenly.
The deep
so
bombs.
I'm considering moving some things around. But those are, I have Tron, and what's the other one? Maybe I don't know. Get
well,
maybe I have Cardano. No. That Tron and something else I thought. But I may have gotten Cardano just thinking, okay, yeah, whatever, if it goes well.
Tron, Cardano, they're kind of the same thing. They're interchangeable.
No, that's why I'm thinking about this right now. Wait a minute. I actually don't remember. I have to look in my my documents. Fuck, okay. I hope it's Cardano. That'd be awesome.
While you go through your ledger live, I wanted to bring so I saw a question in the chat. I wanted to I want to be real super clear about this because I think it's really, really important that people keep their wits about them. VET is getting a lot of attention in the marketplace and in the order books right now, and that's wonderful. I don't have any issues with VET. Let us remember they haven't done anything yet. And there is no actual real clear path for the VET token to have a place in the token economics of the actual protocol. I know you have to have it to generate VTHOR, which is the gas for the protocol, but so the jury's still kind of out. I'm just saying, be careful. Don't get caught up in the hype machine. The other part that I wanted to bring to the stream's attention, which is one of the incredible things going on with the Crypto and Coffee stream, and that is this. It's the very first crypto channel I've ever seen that has a Patreon group that doesn't take the Patreon money and put it in its own pocket. Nick in Crypto and Coffee, all the patrons are owners of a hedge fund. So the Patreon group is actually a small crypto hedge fund. The money that goes into the Patreon group goes directly into crypto, and it's decided by the members of the Patreon group who come to the private meetings.
Wow.
Decide allocation. Well, wait, stop. They decide the tokens they're going to invest in as a group. So it's just like being in a boardroom, right?
Yeah.
Once the tokens are decided, they decide an actual allocation. So they have right now they're doing a 70-20-10. 70 into the solid projects. 20% of the allocation goes into really good projects, but the projects that didn't make the top tier. And then 10% is like what Brady said, lottery tickets. Good, what look to be good, solid projects, but maybe haven't done enough to get in that next level. And it's amazing that in a very short period of time, this Patreon group has grown, has already had an official meeting, already done an allocation, and the entire portfolio is available in the private Patreon group. And everybody was encouraged to go download their own block portfolio app and create a portfolio which is the crypto and copy hedge fund, and you can track it in real time. Is anybody else in YouTube doing this?
Wow.
No. The answer is no, they're not.
Well, and the other thing I just want you guys, everybody to know, just so you're clear here, I make it pretty clear to our people. That's not, we're giving the money away. So we're using at the end of each year or whenever we decide as a group, we will throw a party for the people that can show up for a party. And then the rest of it, we're either going to donate or we're going to give it to some project that we think could use some support. But so none of that money is going to go in our pocket, other than we might drink some of it at the party. But it's so that people get the experience of treating their personal portfolio like a hedge fund. And if you're looking at it through those eyes and through that lens, you're going to be a much more responsible fiduciary for your cash, right? Your best client is you. And then you start realizing that the people around you that charge you money to move your money around may not be the best people to move your money around. And you get to a point where you graduate past needing a bunch of hacks to tell you what to do with your cash and charge you $250 each way.
Right.
So anyway, so that's kind of just teach people to think like a hedge fund manager and to be, I believe we are all, if you have 10, 20, 30 of these crazy assets, you are a hedge fund manager. It doesn't matter if your fund is $10 or $2.6 million or $20 million. It doesn't matter. You're still managing a fund. It's still a return on investment. You're still putting your hours and your time and your research into it. We only have so many hours and with so many days on the earth and so many breaths. I mean, you guys, I'm of alien origin, so I have a lot more time than you guys do. But for those of you that have human time, when it runs out, it runs out. So how do you want to spend your time, doing it for somebody else or doing it for yourself? So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Cool. Hey, Brady, let's get to Charlie's question. Charlie, you made a statement, your feedback. Yeah, I'd love to give you our feedback. Put it on the board.
Okay. I think very few people know about. I'm not shilling.
Yeah.
That's a lead up. That's a good lead up.
Okay, so we know you're pregnant, Charlie. Show us the baby.
You can put clothes on the baby, but then show us the baby. I will. Let me answer this.
That would be huge. Did you see this, Nick?
Yeah, there's rumors of everything. The problem is, and Bill, I would just say this, and there's a couple other people asked this too about VeChain. I think VeChain is awesome. I think it's incredibly efficient. It has a lot of utility, and it's probably going to get utilized all around the world. But that doesn't mean the hoarding effect gets created. That doesn't mean people will start taking the tokens off the exchanges and parking them in private wallets and taking them out of circulation. And unless you have some reason for hoarding, there's not going to be any price appreciation. Because remember, always fighting against you is technology. Technology is systemically deflationary, meaning if technology is really good, like XRP is so good that it's cheap. It's cheap to move money. It's almost free. So the thing that makes it so good is that it's, you don't really need to hold it, right? You could just use it. You can leverage it. So that's one issue that Ripple is climbing that mountain right now. VeChain has to climb that same mountain. VeChain has to find a way to convince people that it's worth not using those tokens and hoarding those tokens. And I don't see that argument being made. Doesn't mean they don't have a way to do it. They just are not very clear about it. Now, maybe they have a master plan and they want to get all these companies on board and then go, ha. But then if I was one of those companies, I would say, wait, dude, what the hell? I thought this was going to be free. Now these tokens have gone up 70x in value. And now, God, so again, I don't know. I guess I just don't know how they make that argument. That'd be my only thing.
It's sub penny though. It's a little easier to take that chance, to buy a little.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got a hard out. Unfortunately, Charlie, I am not at all the right person to get an unbiased opinion about BitTrue. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I no longer do business with BitTrue. I have my own personal reasons for it. So far, technically, they haven't done anything that people should get upset about. However, there are things that that aren't jiving with me, but that's not to say that they're not, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask about BitTrue.
It's a very political answer.
And I'm not a political guy. And with that being said, folks, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I mean, geez, 30 people from start to finish. I want to thank Brady for doing a great job, Brady. Nick, my partner in crime during the week, Mr. Black, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your experience. And BC, it is finally friggin' great to see your face.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
And to have you interact in some other element other than the comment section of the videos I've been producing. Thanks for coming, man. I love it. I'll tell you, I just want to leave all of you wonderful people that are watching live. Thank you so much. Your engagement means a ton to us. This channel is about you, is about sharing information and about being a part of a community. And for those who are going to catch this on the replay, if you're a recent subscriber to my channel, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And I hope to provide you with incredible, entertaining, but yet factual and action-oriented cryptocurrency information and news. And until next time, everybody, from Costa Rica, Sherman Oaks, and somewhere in San Pedro and New York City, Pura Vida.
See you guys.
Whoa! Wait, Bill. Bill decided to drop a $25 super chat on the stream right as I'm logging off.
I like,
Hey, congratulations.
That's mi amigo. I gotta go. I want to sit here and talk about Bill Gould now for the next 25 minutes, but I have a heart out. I gotta go. Folks,
Bill's growing on me.
Next Friday night, where you're gonna get to see the BZ Comedy Channel and a dancing bear. Ciao.
Why not?